Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. So, for me, this could be just like you. I've actually had to learn emotional mastery through relationships, specifically romantic relationships, specifically through heartbreak. For as long as I can remember. No, no, let me stop, but it's facts though. Um, I've been going through a lot of heartache. It almost, after a while, because I realized that's what it was, felt like I was literally being targeted. Okay. And I'm going to try to be as careful as I can with my words because certain words that are being said tend to trigger certain videos. But if you feel like you are constantly going through certain things, granted, perhaps it's something that you are not learning, right? But it doesn't mean that you're toxic. It doesn't mean that you're causing harm to people. It doesn't mean that you are the culprit to karmic situations. It literally means that you are here to, like me, I'm going to speak from my own experience, to learn certain things like boundaries, certain things like self love, listening to your intuition, to learn that your energy is not meant to be in every room. And it's not to say that, oh, you're better than this, you're better than that, but there is such a thing as polarities. There are people that are vibrating higher compared to others that are vibrating lower. There are people that can hold a conversation versus those that cannot, so it all depends on where you feel that you fit. And most of us, we have grown up and have been placed in certain experiences that it's not that we didn't fit, but we had to evolve and grow and learn from that environment so that we can unravel and be that lotus that we've always were meant to become, right? But we couldn't have done that without our experiences. So in my case, I was getting dragged by a whole bunch of men that kept on coming into my life causing heartache. And it was always the same thing. They always end up choosing another woman, or they always end up ghosting, or they used to always end up just little by little, just they start with the love bombing, and now that we know that's part of narcissism now, right now with all this information. So thank God for some of the mental health advocates that started to put out that information, because it's very important for our personal and mental and emotional development. But now this information is all around for us to actually cultivate and to culminate into our daily practices of self-love, such as chakra healing, emotional healing, through whatever modality that you feel you're being called to. But I was going through it. I was going through this up to the point where some people will be like, well, something is wrong with you. How come you're single, or you were single? And that whole, oh, you're still single, you're this, something must be wrong with you. And I feel like that is a cult that came from the patriarchal system to really just really make women feel even less than, or unable or unwilling to want to stand up and still continue to live their life, or even to believe in love. So I kept on getting a lot of repetitive experiences that I would think would lead somewhere. People would come and try to, want to be in a relationship with you, want to experience some type of deeper connection with you. They'll even say these things, right? People would come and they call it the starter wife, which I didn't even know. It's so annoying because there's so many titles and topics and games, to this way of living that only a few people are playing, to be honest with you. But you're not aware that you're in this game until you start to realize the patterns, not only the patterns in others, but the patterns within yourself, right? But I was going through a lot of that constantly. Being in a situation, then it wouldn't work out. Now, I've had successful relationships in my life that led to a successful business. Eventually, unfortunately, we had to dissolve it. I've had one where things were growing, but eventually that person decided to take a different route for whatever purpose. I could go on and sound like a black bitter woman, but I'm not. Everyone has their own path, and even if people come back and say they've made a mistake or anything like that, I still hold space for that, because we can't see past our choices. We can't see past our repetitive patterns until we start to do something different, right? So I had to go through a lot of deceit, betrayal, disrespect, people sabotaging my name behind my back, friends, family, exes, people I don't even date. I haven't even heard from for years, some even decades, still may have my name in their mouth, and all I can do is just send everybody love. And all I can do is really send them the energy where they could look at the demons within themselves so they can heal. And I'm doing this video so that you can really know that you didn't do anything wrong. Not everyone does something wrong and they're getting karma for it. No. Okay. Sometimes you're clearing out generational curses. Sometimes you're clearing out certain patterns that you've seen from your environment, or something that seemed just comfortable, familiar to you, because that's all you saw. You didn't see a higher representative of something healthier, right? Sometimes you are clearing your own past karmic deck from another lifetime. All right, that was for me in my case. Sometimes we are clearing debt from our lineage. Maybe your father was sleeping around on your mother and there was some resentment there. So now when you grow up, you have to experience what your father had put your mother through. And I used to hear this quote all the time. And it wasn't a quote. I'm gonna tell you the quote that I just recently it was just like, oh my gosh, that hits so well. And then it was something else that I always thought about from younger. I'm like, it's funny how back in the day anyway, I'm sure it probably still happening now, men tighten up when they finally have daughters of their own, because they realize all the wrong that they were doing to women and they're conscious about it. Let's just stop. Okay, some aren't because they're hurt, they have mother issues, they have wounds that they still need to heal. But a lot are very conscious, and they're um manipulating and utilizing the patriarchal system to actually benefit them. It's kind of like, if a woman is single, I always right now, not even right now, but I always want to make sure that in my videos, I'm always letting you know to, be safe, to hell, even practice celibacy and protect your energy until you could actually trust your partner and you could create and cultivate a healthy relationship and a healthy home within your environment, right? Because ain't nobody got time for that. Period. Okay. But I do want to say that people are well aware of the actions and the choices that they decide to make, right? They may not have seen you. You guys hear this all the time. God hid you in plain sight, right? You could be someone that has been very loving, and speaking from my own experiences, I've been very giving, very loving. If I cook, I would make a plate for you. If I, because that was just the way that I was brought up. But it was also just something kind of respectful to do. That's also how I want to be treated. But you're living in a world where that is actually um preyed upon, so you have to really start to be discerning, become wiser in the choices and the way that you decide to choose to move. Now, it doesn't mean for you to stop being yourself, because obviously the world needs more love. The world needs more people like you. The world needs more people that's going to pour into you and not steal from anybody. Actually want to pour into them and uplift them. Actually teach them and motivate them and inspire them to want to do better for themselves. The world needs more of that. So don't let the world fool you into thinking anything less than. However, I do see, even in my own experiences, that they try to break me down, y'all. They try to break me down. And before we even get into the topic of they, because a lot of people love to say, who's they? Y'all know who they is. Stop playing. And before we can even get into that conversation, can you hold a conversation of understanding and knowing that there is such a thing as spiritual warfare? Can you hold the conversation and knowing and understanding or overstanding that this is a spiritual world living it out in a physical human experience? Can you actually have the conversation of realizing that your thoughts are powerful and people do have access of manipulating you? Can we agree on that? Because when we can agree on those kind of conversations, then you won't even really have to ask who they is. Because a lot of the times you're dealing with energetical frequencies, because this is a whole energy game. This is a whole energy planet. Okay. And I had to learn through this from constantly going through heartbreak after heartbreak, rejection after rejection. Now, again, I've had some successful relationships, but they didn't last. And it's also, source can show you your resilience, your strength. A lot of us are star seeds. A lot of us are higher vibrational beings, that are here to continue to help bring this into another phase, into another dimension, into a higher dimension where people can have equal give and take, where there's interdependent relationships, where there is love, there is happiness, there is joy and laughter, there is honesty, there is clear communication, there is accountability. That's what you're here for if you're resonating with this. So if you've been hurt, you've been dragged, you've been manipulated, people try to ruin your name and then try to come back behind your back to be your friend and talk to you like you're not even clear cognizant or clear sentient to have picked up on it, especially if you're getting more into someone like me, getting more into tarot and getting more into spirituality, as far as like tapping in and becoming more sensitive to certain cues and messages. It becomes so loud of certain things that are going on, and the whole point was for you to strengthen your resilience, your power, your intuition, you know of the messages, to be able to receive the messages that are coming to you to protect you, because a lot of you guys get to remember this is an energetical world, right? But that means if you're vibrating higher, you are going to meet beings that are vibrating lower. Okay, so you have to protect yourself, you have to become aware of the tactics that they love to use. And if it's something that you've been constantly repeating, like how I was repeating, it wasn't necessarily because I was a bad person or I did something to somebody or I'm setting people up and I'm doing this or that. Never. I've never been that type of person. I've never been that type of person. However, it was because I wasn't setting boundaries. So you may not be learning how to set boundaries. It was because I wasn't listening to my intuition. So maybe you're not listening to your intuition. It was because I do deserve better. And maybe you have some type of limited beliefs that perhaps a family member spewed into your mind when you were younger. You just couldn't, no matter how hard you clean, no matter how good you cook, no matter how much you gave them a foot massage, it just was never good enough. It was just never good enough. You know, Even relationships, no matter how great you showed up, even if they decide to leave or ghost, you would think you were not good enough. That was the whole point. The whole point was to close down your heart. As much as you can feel less than as possible, the more they feel they have succeeded. Because there must be something about you, something about us that is so powerful that the fact that you can continue to move forward, the fact that you could always continue to get up and dust your shoulders off, right? You took another L. It's all good. It was only a lesson. It was just a reminder at this point, to protect my energy. And yeah, I should operate from a vibrational frequency that lets you know you probably don't want to try it. But more importantly, where I'm over here to share my energy, to share my knowledge, to share my light with others. So I can't be around just any and everyone. Maybe that is how I need to move forward. And then to listen and trust my intuition, to be discerning, to make wiser judgment calls, not necessarily judge people, but make wiser judgment calls for yourself, right? Maybe these are just certain things that you just had to learn and you just couldn't get it. So I don't want you to feel like you're a bad person. I don't want you to feel that you're less than. I want you to get back up, go get your nails done, get your toes done, shave if you need to. Okay, do your eyebrows. All right. Get your hair done, do some affirmations, go take a walk, and remind yourself how much you are worthy of love. Remind yourself how much you are worthy of a real connection, someone who could actually communicate their feelings and their limited beliefs and their lack of self-love or whatever. And to be honest, it's kind of challenging to be in a relationship with someone who's lacking self-love anyway, right? Unless you guys are both taking that walk together, it's kind of challenging. You want to be in a space where you're honing into that relationship with spirit, with source, with your ancestors, with yourself, that it becomes your centered space where you can be immovable. No one can shake you out of this space. No one can move you. From there, you can magnetize to you all the other experiences that you get to have, that you know that you deserve, and that source wants to bring in for you. Period. Because you have resilience, you have strength, you have courage, and you have something that a lot of people are trying to attack you for. All those relationships, failed relationships, back and forth, it's not because you did something wrong. It's because you, my dear, know how to love. You vibrate from a frequency of love. That loving energy is your wealth. That heart frequency is your wealth. And if you tune that frequency into what it is that you want to cultivate, a business idea, your own family, you nurturing yourself, your health, you could create wonders, not only for you, but for the entire world. You could actually really stand out more than you actually believe right now. Okay. Once you redirect that energy and that focus and attention into yourself, because all they were trying to do was block you from being able to do so. Because once you do awaken, as part of the 144, as part of the beings that are here to assist others, because you just naturally are empathic, you're loving, you're giving, you're sharing all of your energies and your mindsets and your knowledge. Because you're able to do that, of course they're going to want to attack you, but that also means that you're just that powerful. You're just that powerful. And if you don't feel it right now, that's something that you want to affirm to yourself every day. I am powerful. I know my worth. I'm here for a reason. I trust in who I am. My authenticity is beautiful. My authenticity is magnetic. My authenticity comes from source. Therefore, I'm already validated. You don't need anything outside of you to validate your love. Yes, you are a loving person. Yes, you are a giving person. Now you're a discerning person. Now you set boundaries. Now you're a person with clear communication, and you ask for what you want and you release what you don't want. So operate from that vibrational frequency and know who you are, because it wasn't just, they're not just attacking just a plain old Jane. You're literally Neo up in this matrix, okay? Act like it. Peace.